What's going on, Knicks fans? We have some new information surrounding Donovan Mitchell coming from Brian Windhorst of ESPN and Tony Jones of The Athletic. He's a beat reporter for the Utah Jazz. We're going to break all that down in today's show, but first I want to ask you guys this question. Will a deal get done before training camp? What's the timeline of a Donovan Mitchell trade? Training camp, NBA trade deadline? Let me know what you think. Will a deal get done before training camp? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Are the Donovan Mitchell trade talks between the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz at a stalemate? That's what Brian Windhorst is saying, and you're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and we're going to break all that down. He said the Donovan Mitchell situation is really headed towards a stalemate. The sticker shock is out there for the price that the Jazz are asking, and the Jazz are like, we're in no rush. We're going to sit back and wait for you to meet it. And teams are like, we're not going to increase our prices. And Donovan Mitchell is not pushing it. So I hope everybody enjoys their summer. I'm going to be honest. I'm not buying the Jazz are in no rush. They just hired a brand new head coach who has never been a head coach before. And we have to remember this. Donovan Mitchell did not demand a trade. They just started calling teams about asking what they would give up for him. They've started a full-fledged rebuild and tank. They're trying to bottom out in Utah. They want to add as many picks as possible. They did that in the Rudy Gobert trade. And they're trying to do that with the Donovan Mitchell trade. With him not demanding a trade, they are in a rush. But the Knicks, they do need Donovan Mitchell at this point to demand a trade. That would put more pressure on a guy like Danny Ainge. Because really, I do still think the Knicks have the leverage because I do think the Jazz are operating on a quick timeline. Why would they want to enter training camp with a brand new head coach, with the superstar and Donovan Mitchell that's been mentioned in trade rumors all offseason long after he did not demand a trade? So you're telling your team you don't want him here. You're telling him you don't want him here. You have no other good players on this roster. You just traded Rudy Gobert. This team is not going to be good. And the Jazz's best asset is their own first-round pick. They have 3 first-round picks next year, but they're all going to be higher than pick number 15. The pick that they have that could be the most valuable in a star-studded draft coming up in 2023 is their own. And if you keep Donovan Mitchell, that pick's going to get worse. If you trade him, it's going to get better. Right now, the Knicks, they need Donovan Mitchell to request a trade so that can put pressure on a guy like Danny Ainge to start to make moves happen a little bit more quicker, and maybe a trade could happen before training camp, which I still think will happen. When it happens, we're going to be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/KnicksTV. It is going to be a party when Donovan Mitchell gets traded to the New York Knicks. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and we're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers on the channel. I want to say thank you to everybody that's hit that big red button recently. We've gained like 3.5 thousand subscribers in the past 28 days. That's a salute to all of you. Join the squad, hit that big red button, free daily videos every single day. That's what daily means, every single day. But Tony Jones, he was on a interview or a radio call last night with ESPN. He's been all over the Donovan Mitchell stuff. He reported a couple of weeks ago that a trade could happen. He was one of the first ones. Works for The Athletic, is a Jazz beat reporter. We're going to run through some of the key things that I took away from that interview. He said the Jazz, they want Obi Toppin and they want Quentin Grimes. And I'm going to be honest, if I'm Leon Rose, I'm not giving you both of those guys because those are both of my youngest, most valuable trade assets. I love Quentin Grimes. I love Obi Toppin. In my opinion, if I could only keep one of these guys in QG or Obi Toppin, it would be Obi because we know the Knicks want to trade Julius Randle if they do acquire Donovan Mitchell, and then Obi would slide into that 4 spot. I think that would be the best case scenario. I would hate to give up Grimes and Obi. I probably wouldn't do it. I'm only cool with trading one of them, and it would be Quentin Grimes. The Knicks, the thing is, they want to keep Grimes. That's what Tony Jones said on his radio interview last night, and that makes sense. I understand that thinking, but I think Leon Rose is playing a little bit of hardball here, because as we know, Shams Charania reported last week that the Utah Jazz, they want a trade package surrounding Quentin Grimes. And if the New York Knicks say, well, we want to keep Quentin Grimes, that means that it's just a leverage play at this point. If we want to keep him and you guys want to have him, we're not going to have to give up nearly as much as we may think. If you know we want to keep him and you want him, ultimately, I do think, unfortunately, Quentin Grimes will be involved in a Donovan Mitchell trade. He also said, Tony Jones, that he's 75% sure that a deal gets done before training camp. He said 75-25, and that's what we're hearing from everything. Brian Windhorst says it's inevitable. Tony Jones, 75-25. Mark Stein said he believes a deal gets done before training camp. Everyone is saying a deal will get done. It's just a matter of when and what trade package both sides can agree to. He also said the Jazz are in no rush, and like we said off the top of the show, I'm not buying that. They may say they're in no rush, but they do not want to enter the 2022 NBA season with Donovan Mitchell on their roster. Because if he is, he's going to guarantee you 35 wins if he plays a full season. That makes your draft pick worse. They're bottoming out. They're tanking. They traded Rudy Gobert. They want picks. They want young players. And the best pick they can have is their own if they trade Donovan Mitchell, because they will be one of the worst teams in the association. He also said that numerous teams are interested in Donovan Mitchell, and I think that's interesting. And a team he mentioned was the Oklahoma City Thunder, but he also said that he doesn't think OKC needs Donovan Mitchell like the New York Knicks do. And we know no other team can offer what the Knicks can. We'll show you some trade ideas in a second. Ian Begley put out an awesome article highlighting what the Knicks would have to give up salary cap-wise to meet the demands of the league NBA rules and the demands of Danny Ainge. So all of that is coming down, and you can also stay updated on Twitter by giving me a follow at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Knicks all day, every day. The first place you're going to find out about the latest Knicks news and rumors is on my Twitter. Give me a follow at @MarshallGreen_. I'm trying to get to 2,000 followers, and I'll do this. Everyone that gives me a follow from today's show, I'll make sure to give you a follow back. Just DM me. Let me know you came from this video. Ian Begley put out an article where he highlighted some trade packages that would meet the financial rules of the NBA and the collective bargaining agreement. The Knicks would have to ship out $24.2 million in a trade. And he said if you include Derrick Rose, who has $14 million on the books, who's on an expiring deal, these are some players that you could attach to him to meet that $24.2 million range. Rose, Reddish, and Obi Toppin. Obviously, all of these trades, you'd have to add multiple first-round picks to. So you can, Rose is on $14 million, Cam Reddish is on $5, that's $19 million, and Obi is on that rookie scale deal for about $3 million. You could also do Rose, Toppin, Quickley, and Grimes. I don't want to give up Toppin, Quickley, and Grimes. I don't think the New York Knicks have any belief or want to that they want to trade Toppin, Quickley, and Grimes. Then you could offer a trade package of Rose, Reddish, Quickley, and Grimes. He also did the same thing, Ian Begley, for Evan Fournier if he was involved in a deal. Fournier makes $18 million, so you just got to make up another $6 million in salary cap to get to $24.2 million. You could package Fournier, Reddish, he's on that 1-year, $5 million deal. He's expiring. Fournier, Reddish, Grimes. You could do Fournier, Reddish, and Quickley. Fournier, Reddish, and Miles McBride. You could do Fournier, Toppin, and Reddish. Or you could do Fournier, Toppin, plus Grimes or Quickley. There's a lot of different avenues you could go if you want to make a Donovan Mitchell trade happen. I have one that I'm going to show you guys in a second. But first, I want you guys to let me know your Donovan Mitchell trade idea. What would be the last offer you would send to Utah to get a deal done? The final one. The furthest you would go in a Donovan Mitchell trade. I want to hear all New York Knicks fans' thoughts in the comment section right now. Comment your Donovan Mitchell trade idea in the comments right now, and I'll pick the best one and feature it on a future New York Knicks Now. Here at New York Knicks Now, we're also hooking you guys up with the freshest New York Knicks gear out there. And the best part, it's on sale. Everybody's trying to save a buck right now. You can keep it a buck repping your New York Knicks. Just go to chatsports.com/Knicks sale. You can get a t-shirt. You can get this sick zip-up hoodie. That one's pretty fresh. My producer will look pretty good in that. Shout out to him, Jeremy Chugs. Or you can get a backpack. The school season is just around the corner. Be looking cool. Be looking swagged out. Rock your Knicks all summer long, all year long, because our deals will not stop. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Knicks sale. I'll have the link to that in the comments and description of this video. From everything that I've read and understood and some people I've talked to, the Jazz want picks, expiring deals, and cheap young guys. And nobody can offer that package or that plethora of assets like the New York Knicks have. The Knicks, as we all know, can trade 8 first-round picks over the next 7 years. You can only move up 7 years when trading future first-round picks. They have 11 first-round picks in that time frame. You can't trade your own first-round picks in back-to-back years, so they have 8 that they can trade on the table. So this is my trade idea, and it includes all of it: picks, expiring deals, and young players. Derrick Rose, he's on a 1-year, $14 million deal. I believe if this trade happened and the Jazz got Derrick Rose, they would buy him out and he'd become a free agent and he can go sign anywhere he so pleases. I also included Cam Reddish. Would hate to see him go. 6'8" wing, can put it on the deck, silky smooth jumper, can get to the rim. I like him a lot, but he's also on a 1-year, $5 million expiring deal. I don't think the Jazz have any long-term plans of keeping Cam Reddish, so that's $19 million in expiring deals right there. Then you add up 2 players that we know that they're interested in, and Quentin Grimes and Immanuel Quickley. I'd hate to trade Quentin Grimes, but when you can get a 25-year-old superstar that's a 3-time All-Star and has had 250 balls in the playoffs, it costs to be the boss, and sometimes you got to spend money to make money. And then you throw in 5 future first-round picks. That may sound like a lot, but the Knicks would still have 6 for future first-round picks over the next 7 years. They could continue to build onto this roster with Donovan Mitchell. So the Knicks, they trade Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, Quentin Grimes, IQ, and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 future first-round picks, and Donovan Mitchell ends up in the blue and orange, playing in the Mecca at Madison Square Garden. I want to ask you this question, though. Would you make this trade if you were Leon Rose? This would probably be the final offer and the furthest I would go in a Donovan Mitchell trade. You give up 2 expiring deals of $19 million. That fits what they want. You give them 5 future first-round picks. Say 3 of those are unprotected picks from the New York Knicks, and you include 2 of those picks you got by trading out of the 2022 NBA draft, and you also give them Grimes and Quickley. Let me know what you would do. Type A for accept, or you can go down and type D for decline. I appreciate everybody that's made it this far in the video. If y'all want to hit a real one roll call, you can do that. We'll know who the real ones are by me not having to say much else. But also remember, follow me on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm following everybody back that follows me from this video. My producer's in my ear, making me laugh a little bit. Shout out to Jeremy Chugs. Give Chugs a shout out in the comment section. He's a Knicks fan. He loves him as well. But give me a follow at @MarshallGreen_.